Hi guys, welcome back. Today's video we're going to be doing the handlebar risers because what I discovered from riding this around with the standard R1 clip-ons is they are way too low. I mean, you can't even fit these infill trims in because the controls just rub and they catch, and it's quite dangerous. So another thing we're going to also be doing is just adjusting the headstock bearing. Now that I've ridden it around a little bit, it has loosened up, so I'm just going to do a sort of a simple little guide on how to do that, and then that's it really. I'll show you what handlebars we've got. We just got some cheap, simple eBay jobbies. You know, it's just a simple case of they go in there, you cut them to size, and you put them in place of your forks. I don't like the fact that they haven't got the little securing bolt, you know, to sort of locate it. So, but to be honest, it's probably better because if it falls over, it'll probably just move rather than snap the actual handlebar off. So yeah, I learned from my motocross days, you don't do things up so tight that they won't move, but tight enough that you can't move them or they can come loose. So that, you know, in the event of a crash, it will just move out the way or something like that. Like levers, you won't do them up fully tight just so that they can move if need be. So we've got those, we're going to fit those. Unfortunately we do have to tackle my headstock bearing, my headstock nut, which, as you remember from the last video, was the thread was a little bit chewed up. So I mean, the nut did go on okay, but not by hand, it just wound on. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but it should be okay. I'm going to save you the boring bit. I'm going to get to the point of where we need to be taking fairings off, you know, getting the weight off the front end, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you in a sec. Right, so here we go guys, we've got to the strip down stage now. One thing I just want to show you, like I said in the last video about taking grips off so you can put them back on again. Obviously we need to keep this grip, so hairspray, best trick. What you need to do is you need to get a small, thin, flathead screwdriver, hairspray. Don't need to use much, otherwise it just kills it for ages. It's going to be a little bit stuck on because it's been put on the hairspray as well. So you just basically keep the point downwards. You just kind of working your way along it. But this one will be a bit stuck, like I say, because it's got hairspray on it already. You get it most of the way up, that should be fine. Get some hairspray. Actually comes out, spray it in there. And work this around like that. It kind of gets it all in there. Pull that out. Pop. It comes. Now it's going to be sticky when it next comes off as well. And you just do the same, spray a bit in there, shove it on, adjust it to where you want, leave it. Might take 12 hours or so to actually properly dry up, but that's it. So basically all we've got to do, everything's loose, just got to loosen these controls off now, and then we can take this top off. Once the handlebars are loose as well. That up a little bit tight. There you go, right, that's that loose. Right, so all we need to do loosen all these. I think I might have got this one already, I'm not sure. I did on the other side. Yeah. Did on the other side. Believe? No, I didn't. So loosen all them off, all the 6 mils. weight on the bike. I did off camera while I was stripping it, get the weight off the front wheel and just check, and there is quite a bit of play there now. Everything's all freed up. So now what we've got to do, I'll pop this headstock off. Might be a bit of a tease. You should get there. Something may well be in the way. She's coming. There we go. Just cast that to the side, so I don't want to have to disconnect that ignition barrel. We'll pop these riders off while we're here. Take them off the controls. A little bit of sticky stuff on the end there, makes it quite difficult to get the controls off. There we go. These will be going on eBay later. Do the other one. So these are already all loosened, so pop it off. And there we go, under the handlebar. Move this out of the way so you can see what we got here. It's a top nut arrangement. We've got like a lock washer and then a lock nut and then a bottom nut. Now under here is quite a bit of play. If I was to jack it up again and take the weight off of the front wheel, you'll actually see quite a lot of play in here. Now, when I first set this, I set it to sort of fairly tight, you know, wiggle around a few times and, you know, try and get it to set. But then the idea is you lock it off, you take it for a ride, and after a few miles and things bedding in, especially with new grease and all that sort of stuff, you might find you're getting a little bit of a knock. So it's just a case of revisiting it and retightening it. So that's what we're going to do here. So all I've got to do is knock this washer loose, sorry, and then tighten up the bottom one. And I've got to take the weight off the front end, get it all turning a few times to get it all set again. So we're going to do that. So I'll stand you back up here. See, is there a better angle? There we go. There we go. Hannah, I'm just going to tap this so that it loosens up. that's the lock washer loosened off now. Now there is a proper spanner you can get for going in here, and I haven't actually got it unfortunately, but you can just make do with chisels and what have you. What I like to try and do is at least turn it myself. See how loose it actually is. It probably won't work with something as poor as these pliers, but you know, there you go. It's got a nice bit of turn on it there. So we're going to knock that up as much as we can get it. Just being fairly light to it. And once it really doesn't want to go anymore with sort of a light pressure, then what we need to do is then jack up the front, check for any play, turn it a few times. You can even do that now. Going quite a bit. So that really thick grease that I had in there obviously took up quite a bit of room. Now it's been ridden and all splayed out of there a little bit. It's make more room. Do that lock to lock a few times, just sort of kind of settle everything in a bit more. You just want to try and keep going. You're also checking for stiffness between, you know, it's still perfectly fine to turn. And once we've got as much on it as we actually want to go, which ain't far off now. That's about right. Still not stiff, so we're still good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jack up the front, just so the front wheel's off the ground. Then we can just check for any play. Also give it a few lots of lock checks. Help me bed in a little bit more again. I've got to be careful because I'm using a car jack and it's not the greatest idea. Bearing in mind had the bike fall over once already, another time, so I've just got to be careful. Don't want it to fall off on camera now as well. Right, so we're in the air enough. Now what we need to do is just kind of get hold of the back of the wheel, the front of the wheel and the top of the headstock, and kind of pull on it. Now there's no real play there, there's a bit of flex that you get from the forks and the fact that they've got no top yoke on them, but there's no actually dunk type of feeling of play. So what we want to do, we're going to work this backwards and forwards, try and hump it with your legs and with your knees a little bit. Just work it. Just try and get that extra little bit of free play and settling in done. And then once that's that, you can settle her down back on the ground. Just give her a push there to make sure she's home. switches are all settled in. And then just try and get that to tweak a little bit more. Check it again. Still not stiff, still good. And that is it. All we got to do, I'm going to leave that as that because that seems quite tight and that's gone quite a long way. So we're going to knock this washer back down and we've got to reset so that the little insert, the grooves line up so we can get our lock washer back on. And then it's a case of onward with moving to the handlebars before we can put the rest back together. Hopefully this lock washer lines up alright with not too much fuss. If not, it's always better to go a little bit tighter on the bearing. Just knock it up until it will actually all line up. It's not actually that tight, by the way, it's just the angle I'm hitting it at because I want to try and slip as minimal as possible because it is aluminium at the end of the day, so hitting it with a hard steel punch, you want to make sure you're good and in there and don't slip out too many times because you know it's going to damage the nut. Yes, I should have the proper tool, but and that's it. They are home and together. So now we get our lock washer and pop her on, and that's that set. So now we have our new handlebar risers. Figure out which way they go on. It's that one, so that side. Yeah. So that goes on there. That goes on there. And we can pick up our top yoke. It's not lining up with the weight on it. Get the weight on it. Perfect. Now, our top nut that managed to survive. What I'm going to do is just clean that thread up. Use a little bit of the copper grease you get supplied with Pro Bolt bolts. Seems to be okay. It's actually like a 35, 34. Some nut, but I'm using a 36. A nice rag over it, just to give it a bit of protection here. Yes, I know there is a torque setting. I don't have them. I know it's only an inset search away, but the amount I take this bike apart and put it back together, it's fine. There we go. As long as things are tight. I'm a mechanic of 15, 16 years experience. I can kind of get a feel for how bolts feel. So, what I would always recommend to you to torque important bolts. This is my bike, my life, my experience. And there we have it. That is how you adjust your headstock bearing. These are going to go somewhat like that. I'm going to have to do a lot of sitting and fiddling, but that is pretty much how it's going to go. I already feel it's more up, and even if it is by a little bit, but if it's enough to clear them infills, then it'll do perfectly fine for me. It's just a case now of making sure they're all totally straight, bolt it down nice and tight, adjust it up right. So should see you in a little while. Right, so here we go guys, I've got the handlebars fitted now after much fiddle fart arsing around. They do say they are to fit R6, R1, but they are pretty much a universal fit. I had to cut quite a bit out of my clutch lever here. I mean, nothing structural, but it's mainly the bit that holds the tab that stops this. So I'm going to have to either PTFE this or find another way of being able to hold this still. But mine is pretty much wound all the way in anyway. So just for now, I'm just going to keep an eye on it, just make sure it is okay but that's the only way I could get around it. I have had to shave a tiny little bit off of this bracket here as well, which, you know, I've done as minimal as absolutely possible, but it is on there. It is on there and all good, and they seem to be okay. What I did with lining them all up is I've got the other handlebar, the standard bar, and I just put it on like that and kind of lined it up. I know this is the wrong side, but I kind of just lined it up so I could see straight through this hole and sit, you know, and line that up, and then I mirrored this bar. You know, it took a lot of time to actually line it up, make sure it was the same as the other. basically like that. And then tightened it all down. So fairly simple to actually fit the bars. I'll cut them down a little bit, made sure they're the same size as all that. Managed to get my bar ends on, and which I'm quite chuffed with. I didn't think I'd be able to actually do that. So it all seems to be well and good. Now we just got to put it back together and see how it goes. So that concludes the headstock bearing adjustment and 1-inch riser handlebar fitment. So next up is we're going to be getting a steering damper going into here. Getting Olin's old school style steering damper, which I'll be doing a video on fitting, and also the infills done in carbon. So as long as all of this no longer touches any of that, which I don't think it will, it should be all good. So thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye bye.